Hello everyone and welcome back to the Foreplay channel. I'm Bella.
I'm Jace.
Today's video is about some advice that completely revolutionized our relationship, and that is the 5 love languages. We've been together now for 17 years and we've only really started seriously implementing the idea of the love languages probably within the past year or so. And this is something that we wish we would have done since the very beginning. The 5 Love Languages is a book written by Gary Chapman that breaks down how as people, we all have different ways of being loved and showing our love to our partners. In this video, we'll be specifically talking about the 5 love languages in relation to you and your partner, but there are also other 5 love language books relating to family, coworkers, and more.
So I'm going to start by telling you just what the 5 love languages are and give you a little example of those. So you have acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation. So what acts of service is the example of doing acts of service. That could be maybe running an errand for someone before they have a chance to do it. Maybe it's doing the laundry. Maybe it's seeing that person in need of help doing something. You come over and stop what you're doing to help them. That makes those people feel loved. Quality time is the act of spending quality time together. That can look different for everyone, which we'll talk about later, but it's spending nice quality time together. Physical touch, while lots of people think about it in the sexual way, it is much more than that. It can be holding a hand, kissing on the cheek, giving a hug. All those little things add up, and so it's physical touch in many different aspects, but those things help people that have physical touch as one of their love languages feel loved. Gifts is whenever receiving gifts from somebody is what helps you feel loved. And while that's not my personal love language from my understanding, it's that thought of getting that gift and that thought that someone's putting out the effort to think of you and get you that thing that they know you want, that you're thinking about, helps them feel loved. Words of affirmation is the last one, and what that is words of affirmation. So maybe that's telling somebody, hey, you look so nice today, complimenting them on something, telling them that they've been such a good help. And so those things of giving those actual words of affirming people is what helps them feel loved. There's a test that you can take, so we would highly recommend you and your partner take it. We'll have it linked down below, and then that way you can learn what your love language is as well as what your partner's love language is.
Our first piece of advice is to both take the 5 love languages quiz and then truly learn and study both you and your partner's first and second love language, and then reading the book so you have a full understanding of all of the different love languages. From our personal experience, we believe that love languages are usually developed and shaped from your own childhood experiences, and it can be something that you feel like you missed from your childhood, or it could be how you were personally shown love during your childhood. For example, my first love language is acts of service. My parents were both busy business owners to provide for our family, and I had a major role in raising my younger sibling and myself and being in charge of a lot of household and family responsibilities. So because of those responsibilities and expectations as I was growing up, now having someone take the initiative to complete a task that needs to be done before I have the time to get to it, it takes like the mental load off and a weight off my shoulders, and that in turn makes me feel loved. Simple things such as filling up my water bottle when it looks empty, or offering to clean my glasses when they look smudged, or plugging in my computer when the battery is low. Those are also other ways that I feel loved by acts of service. And these are what personally makes me feel seen and cared for in our relationship, but it can vary so much from person to person.
My biggest 2 are quality time and words of affirmation. Just like Bella said, I think this goes a lot back to whenever I was a child. My parents, we spent a lot of time together. We would go do things together, and lots of that was one-on-one time, no phones or anything like that. And my parents were also the kind of people that were very encouraging, and they told me, hey, you're doing a great job on this. Hey, this is this. And those made me develop those things. We have a podcast that goes super in depth. So if you want to hear a little bit more about our story about that, and also just even more in depth about the love languages, we'll have that link down below so you guys can listen and learn even more. So what we learned is where our issues stem from is in the way that we were loving each other. So since physical touch was one of my love languages, I like to show physical touch love towards Bella. So me coming up behind her and giving her a hug or giving her a kiss, while yes, she appreciates it, it's not one of her main love languages. And what we learned is that is how I was trying to show her love, where acts of service is what really makes her feel loved. So now that we've learned that, me going through and me doing some sort of thing like filling up her water bottle, me running an errand that she needs to have done before she has a chance, or just taking care of things that need to be done is what makes her feel loved. And so what we realized is that by us spending time trying to love each other the way that we want to be loved, it never really made our other person feel as loved as they could. And so that's why it's so important to learn these love languages, learn what yours is, learn what your partner's is, so you guys can show each other love in the way that makes you both really feel loved.
Quality time together is where we have both always felt the most love because we do share that love language. But we realize that even if we share the same love language, the way that we actually feel that love can even vary within that. For me, working next to each other for a majority of the day where we're in the same vicinity and talking throughout the day feels like an example of quality time. Or if we're watching a show together and having lunch, like that would feel like quality time for me. But for Jace, it doesn't have the same effect. For him, spending one-on-one time with absolutely no distractions is his idea of quality time. So even though we had the same love language, the way that we felt that was also even different. And this is why it's so important to not just learn the 5 love languages, but to learn what that specific love language looks like to your partner. This involves having deep conversations together and really exploring what your love languages look like to you and examples of the ways that you feel that love. When you learn your partner's love language and you're able to focus your attention on loving them in the way that they desire to be loved, you can completely revolutionize your relationship.
So when we first started this, it was all a learning process. And what I realized through all of it is acts of service is not one of my love languages, right? So it's not how I naturally loved. But once I learned that this is how Bella loved to be loved, I felt overjoyed to do these things. So while at the beginning, whenever I was doing a task, yes, I never minded doing something. Whenever she would ask me to do something, I never minded doing it. But once I realized that me doing those things is what made her truly feel love, I look forward to those things. And now I go out of my way to try to find ways to show acts of service to her because it makes me feel loved. And there's something that's so beautiful about that. And the biggest thing is, yes, maybe you and your partner have the same exact love language, and those things are easy. But whenever acts of service for me is not what's natural, Bella can see that I'm putting out effort. So not only is the acts of service what makes her feel loved, I'm also putting out effort to do something that's maybe not natural to me at the beginning, so it makes you feel even more loved. Same with her, when physical touch isn't her main one, whenever she shows me physical touch, when I know that she's doing that for me because it's not her natural response, because that's not her natural love language, you feel even more love. So it's like this double effect where not only are they doing what makes you feel loved, you're getting love in the way that you need, they're also putting out this effort. And so it's like you can tell how much they're putting into the love, and that makes you feel even more love.
Learning to be fluent in your partner's love language can be really unnatural at first, especially if you have opposite love languages. But like Jay said, from our experience, when you both put in the effort to learn, it starts to become second nature. Bouncing off from what Jay said earlier, one of his top love languages is words of affirmation. And it was really difficult for me to find ways that seemed natural for me to say words of affirmation because I was growing up and just in ways that I was shown love, like that wasn't something that was shown to me. So even things like saying like, oh, I'm so proud of what you're doing, like thank you for doing this, those weren't really said to me. So it didn't feel natural for me to say those to him. And then now knowing that those are the things that make him feel love, like he said earlier, it makes me want to put out that effort even though it's kind of uncomfortable at first. So from experience, when you both put in that effort to learn your partner's love language, it does start to become second nature. The moment that we really committed to loving each other in the best way for each person is the moment where we felt the most connected and the most love that we have in the entire 17 years that we've been together. When you're loved in the way that you desire, it fills up your love tank. And your love tank feeling full is an indicator that both of the effort that you've been putting in is making a real difference. Even though we're both constantly putting out effort, we will still ask each other every couple weeks if our love tanks feel full, and to make sure that we're both feeling the love that we desire and to do more or less of something in the case that it isn't.
So in conclusion with all of that, we just think that this is such an important thing to implement. And that doesn't matter. I know lots of time we talk about swinging lifestyle advice here, but this is just amazing things that you can do for your relationship, whether you are in the swinging lifestyle, if you're monogamous, if you're dating, if you're married, like whatever it is one of the most valuable things that we've ever put effort into. And it's one of those things that, yes, maybe your love languages do line up, and maybe it's very easy for you to learn your partner's love languages, but still, even if it's the same, maybe they're a little bit different. And showing that effort and knowing that you guys are doing this together, it can make you feel so loved. And in a case like ours, where we have opposite love languages in a lot of the cases, that completely revolutionized how we saw each other, how we loved each other, and so we've never felt more love. So even if it's small little things or it's huge things, they make a big difference in your relationship. So we'd highly recommend, even if you maybe heard of the love languages, taking the quiz, and not just that, but really reading the book and truly understanding, because this is valuable information, not just for how you love each other, but you can also implement this in friendships and in work and in different ways. And yes, they're slightly different, but learning those love languages is the basis of being able to be fluent in all of them. And so yeah, we just really, really recommend that you guys try this because it's helped us so much. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave this video a like. Make sure to subscribe if you never see post a video, and then leave a comment down below. Maybe there's something that we missed that's really helped you with the 5 love languages, or maybe you've been doing this for a long time and you have some advice that will help someone else. Make sure to drop that in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.
Bye.